Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling, and oh my goodness, I don't think anybody saw this coming, or certainly the manner in which this occurred, because we have an undisputed AEW World Champion, and it is none other than Jon Moxley. Now, a lot of people didn't see that coming anyway, but what people really didn't see coming was the manner in which Jon Moxley defeated CM Punk for the AEW World Championship to unify the interim and AEW World Championship in Cleveland last night on Dynamite on TBS. He squashed him. He absolutely squashed CM Punk in under 5 minutes. Yes, under 5 minutes, Moxley absolutely destroyed Punk in what was absolutely stunning fashion. And again, not a lot of people saw this coming at all. So of course, after their big brawl to open up last week's episode of AEW Dynamite, CM Punk and Jon Moxley's match to unify the AEW World Championship and the AEW Interim World Championship was moved up from the All Out pay-per-view to last night's edition of Dynamite. Now, surprisingly, the match went on at the top of the show's second hour, and the ending was even more stunning. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. Once the bell rang, the two instantly went at it, and after getting the upper hand, Punk went for a roundhouse kick on Moxley. However, even though it was successful, it seemed to re-aggravate Punk's foot injury. Now, I say re-aggravate because Punk did the roundhouse kick, but then he started favoring the other foot, which was really odd. Now, some said, oh, it's just because the planting foot, that's maybe why, but it seemed very, very odd. Nevertheless, Punk's re-aggravation of the foot injury led to Moxley gaining control, hitting his finisher, and winning the match. The entire match itself lasted less than 5 minutes. They went full Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg at Survivor Series 2016. I mean, it was a little bit longer than that, but that's basically what we had going on here. Now, after the bell had rung, Moxley was celebrating. Punk had to receive help and medical attention from the AEW officials to get to the back, and everyone was kind of stunned. Social media, myself watching, was absolutely stunned at what we were watching. Now, not too long after the match ended, Moxley was seen again, this time backstage doing a promo. He said, quote, was that how it was supposed to go? Moxley asked. Moxley then personally called out all of the fans who never believed in him, saying, quote, those people never mattered. They never did. The only answer to anything in professional wrestling is Jon Moxley. Now, what's interesting about this victory is not just how Moxley won, but the fact he is now the first ever two-time AEW World Champion. Of course, his first reign started when he defeated Chris Jericho all the way back at Revolution in 2020. He then lost the championship to Kenny Omega in December of that same year on the Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite. But you know, title reigns and numbers be damned. This was stunning. I talked about yesterday, and when we spoke about this here on the channel, I spoke about the possible outcomes that I could see happening. And a lot of people are trying to figure this out. It's going to be fascinating to see what the ratings say this week for Dynamite, certainly. I'm absolutely beyond intrigued. And once they come out, hopefully we'll talk about it here on the channel tonight. My hope is to do that. But it's going to be fascinating because I tried to lay out all of the possible avenues that they could go down by moving this to Dynamite. And my general assumption was, and I think the assumption of a lot of people was, that there was going to be some kind of screwy finish, some kind of non-finish, a count-out, a disqualification, interference, something like that, which would lead to a stipulation match at All Out. And as far as we've heard, the plan is still to have Moxley versus Punk at All Out for the World Championship. They've got, what, 3 TVs between now and All Out? They've got 3 TVs. You know, it's wild, really, when you think about it, about what's going on. They've got Rampage on Friday. They've got next week's Dynamite, and then another episode of Rampage, which I believe is live. Then they've got the pay-per-view. So they need to figure this out quickly, what they're going to do. I think the assumption still is that we're going to have Punk versus Moxley, but again, the situations that I thought could occur last night would be that we were going to get some kind of non-finish, a DQ, a count-out, an interference, which would lead, or them brawling, you know, a no contest, which would then lead to some kind of stipulation match at All Out. It's going to be inside of a cage. It's going to be a lights out match. It's going to be something to determine the AEW World Champion. I thought maybe we could have Moxley win, because he turns heel or something like that happens, and then we have the rematch at All Out. I thought maybe we'd have Punk win by nefarious means and he would turn heel, and then we would have MJF return. It would be MJF versus CM Punk at All Out. Those are the real possible avenues that I thought they could go down. But the idea of Jon Moxley squashing, and this is what it is, it's a squash, squashing CM Punk in 5 minutes was staggering, and I really wonder, where did they go from here? And that's not a bad thing, it must be said. It's not a bad thing to have those questions or to be shocked or wonder where they go, but whenever you do this kind of finish, whenever you do this kind of just decisive, one-sided victory, it has to go to somewhere. And frankly, every time it's done, it never really loses its shock factor, to be honest. I think about it when, again, Goldberg did it to Brock. I think about it when Brock did it to John Cena. This is kind of a similar kind of thing where you do sit back and go, wow, I was not expecting that. You have to be careful because I'm sure there are some fans possibly leaving Dynamite last night or watching at home going, I don't know how I feel about that finish. I don't feel shortchanged, to be honest. I don't, because I do suspect there is a grander plan at play here. I think it just plays in. I think they are, AEW and Tony Khan, I think they are playing in to the turmoil that is ongoing at AEW right now. I think that Tony Khan has seen those internet reports. I think that Jon Moxley and CM Punk has seen those internet reports, and they thought, you know what? People are talking. It might not be reflecting in the ratings, but we can spike a rating here by doing something crazy. We can do something, we can get people talking, because people are now legitimately coming out of watching Dynamite last night going, well, Punk got buried on camera, so does that mean he's on the way out? Is Punk leaving? Is Punk quitting AEW? Is this really what's going on? They're trying to blur that line between fiction and reality, and ultimately, that's when pro wrestling's at its best, right? When you do have that line that is blurred between fiction and reality, when you can't disseminate what is truth, what is fiction, what is real, what isn't real. That's when pro wrestling is at its best, its ambiguous best. But what is the plan? That's what I think now. What is the plan? I still think it's Moxley versus Punk All Out, but I'm watching this thinking there has to be a heel turn somewhere involved in it. Is it Punk? Is it Moxley? I don't know. I really don't know, because how does CM Punk look at coming out of this? He got squashed. You could say, oh, it's because of the injury. Okay. But he still didn't look great. He still looked weak. And when you start looking weak, it's because there's something planned. There's a heel turn. I think they have the rematch, and I think Punk wins it All Out in Chicago by nefarious means, whether it's feet on the ropes, whether it's by cheating, whether it's by doing something, because he just can't beat Jon Moxley. He can't beat Moxley. Moxley's got his number. He's not good enough. And that lends to CM Punk turning heel. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know where they're going with this. And again, that's not a bad thing, but they've got to be certainly careful, especially if they're going down the avenue of working the boys or working those in the back, that kind of situation. They certainly need to be careful with that, without question. But I did not see that coming. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming, and it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see where they go with it. One thing I will say, and we spoke about this last night when we kind of previewed this match here on the channel, is that I believe it was Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reported yesterday that it was actually Jon Moxley's idea to move the match to Cleveland, and Punk had to be kind of convinced to do it, sort of thing. And after witnessing what happened last night, that report makes a lot more sense. Of course, Jon Moxley. Imagine him pitching this idea, going to Punk and Tony Khan last week. How about, instead of doing the match in Chicago All Out, how about we do it on Dynamite? And on top of that, not only we do it in Dynamite in Cleveland, how about I beat you in 5 minutes? You barely get any offense in. And they're like, what? Yeah, how about I squash you? That'll get people talking. No wonder Punk had to be convinced. The only way that I think is the best way out of this, or the avenue out of this, is a Punk heel turn. They have to be... You don't do an angle that big. And this is what it is. It's an angle. It wasn't a match. It was an angle. You don't do an angle that big in a championship unification match on free television without something bigger being at play here. There is a bigger story being told here. Maybe it wasn't the original story that was planned. Maybe all of this stuff that came out last week has kind of dictated where this one is going to go. But I feel like, again, my feeling now is Punk's going to turn heel, and he's going to have to cheat to beat Moxley because he can't beat Moxley. But between now and All Out, they need to announce the match. They need to give a legitimate reason as to why Punk is going to get that rematch. And I think that probably has to be what? He was injured, or he says, you got lucky, foot injury, something like that. I don't know. I don't know how they get there. But how they get there is certainly going to be fascinating without a shadow of a doubt. And I am interested to see how they get there, no doubt about it. But yeah, I just didn't see that coming. I must say, I really, really did not see that one coming. And they also have to be careful too, is that Tony Khan's got very, for a guy that initially did long title reigns, those title reigns are starting to get quite short for certain people. How many times has the TNT Championship changed hands? How many times has the tag title changed hands? Now the World Championship. Punk was only the world champion. I mean, he won it at Double or Nothing. He never defended it. His first defense, he lost. I guess it's very lifelike. I guess it's kind of like Punk's career in the UFC, even though he was never champion there. I don't know, but it certainly was fascinating. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings on this, how you thought it went. Were you surprised? Where do you think the direction is going in the future? Do you think it is going to be going towards a rematch All Out? Or do you think it's going to be going towards a CM Punk heel turn? Maybe a Jon Moxley heel turn? Are we going to see something different? Let me know your thoughts. I'm fascinated to know what you guys think about this one, because I'm still kind of in shock as we're talking about it right now. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. There is plenty of AEW news coming today as well. I'm going to be talking about that talent meeting. Eddie Kingston suspended by All Elite Wrestling as well. We've got it all covered in a video coming out later today. So be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, comment in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.